Got spaghetti on the stove.
Okay, all right. Well,
All
I got
right.
another meeting to get to soon, so.
All right, we got this special meeting past 5 o'clock. Before I open up the meeting, I want to remind everyone here, it's not a lot of people here, but if you wish to speak, make sure your name's on the petition and just keep all comments respectful. So we will go ahead and call this special meeting for November 20th to order. May I have roll call, please?
Mike Nichols,
Here.
Sam Payne, Scott Highlander, Isaac Chavez,
Present.
Charles Bates.
Present.
Okay, then taking a look at the minutes from August 20th. Repeat those names.
I think everybody was here.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
move forward with those minutes. So if we could get a
I'll make a
motion,
motion, we approve the August 20 minutes.
have it first.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Mike Nichols,
Aye.
Isaac Chavez,
Aye.
Charles Bates.
Aye.
All right, moving forward. Before we take a look at this business, just checking to see we have no conflict of interest with the persons or petitions being heard tonight.
Yep.
Hearing none, moving forward. We'll take a look at new business public hearing docket 2025-013. The petitioner is Maria Zamora, requesting a special exception to allow a duplex on a B residential district. Mr. Don Stott, can we please have the staff report?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and Charles, thanks for your hustle down here, brother. I'm beginning to think we weren't going to have enough for reporting. We were
I
going
was
to
coming. I was
start making phone, so I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. The applicant is Maria Zamora Escobar. Address is at 460 West Palmer Street in Frankfort, Indiana. The request is located at lot number 14 in the Hoover MASH edition to the city of Frankfort, as the same is recorded in plot record 2, old page 14, and is commonly known as 460 West Palmer Street here in Frankfort. The petitioners are requesting a special exception for approval of a duplex in a B residential district. The Unified Development Ordinance references Article 11 definitions: dwelling. Two-family duplex is a building located on a single lot containing two dwelling units arranged one above the other or side by side and occupied by not more than two families. The land use table in Appendix A 2.02, dwelling, single-family attached, for sale or rent, special exception in a B residential. The zoning of this property is B residential. On 302.03, in the Unified Development Ordinance, medium density residential, this district includes areas of primary single-family dwellings in Frankfort, which have historically developed at a higher density. Density should not exceed 6 family dwelling units per acre. On the zoning map, medium density residential areas include most of the former B residential areas and former C residential areas. The request analysis is that on 203.11 from the Unified Development Ordinance, special exception from cases arising within their territorial jurisdiction, the Board of Zoning Appeals shall approve or deny all special exceptions from the term of the zoning ordinance, but only in the classes or of cases or in the particular situation specified in the zoning ordinance. The board may impose reasonable conditions and or comments pursuant to IC Code 3674-1015. A special exception shall be approved under this section if, after a public hearing, the board makes findings of facts in writing that 1, the proposed use conforms to the district's provision in which it will be located and all general regulations of this ordinance. The total lot size will be approximately 40 by 159, 6,360 square feet with a 40-foot of frontage. Our Unified Development Ordinance requires a minimum of 7,200 square feet and 600 feet of front, or 60 feet of frontage. It does not have enough impervious. It does have enough impervious surface to allow 4 off-street parking spaces. It will meet all general regulations of this ordinance, including the impervious surface ratio. In the Unified Development Ordinance, section 30501, lots of records or lots sold by verifiable land contract before the date of this ordinance adoption may be smaller in area than the figure prescribed, provided all other regulations of the district can be met and they have not come into common ownership with adjacent lots at the same time. Section 50 or 30501 gives the rights for the lots to be undersized on 30203 medium density residential. This district includes areas of primary single-family dwellings in Frankfurt which have historically developed a higher density. Density should not exceed 6 family units per acre on the zoning map. Medium density residential areas included most of the former B residential and former C residential areas. In your packets, I have given you 2 examples of the number of dwelling units in an acre. One has 6 units, counting the duplex. The second gives 7, counting the duplex. The proposed use conforms to the district uses. You know, I know, Charles, we get into that conversation, and it's a great conversation to get into. And so I tried to divide that up into 2 different acreage area-wise, and we miss it by 1 on the bottom section of it, but we make the number in the top section. So I put all that in place just for our records to say, in case we get into a discussion going, I don't know if it meets that requirement or not. So that's why all that is in there. 2, the proposed use shall not involve any element or cause any conditions that may be dangerous, injurious, or noxious to any other property or persons, and shall comply with the performance standards herein. The proposed duplex will not involve any element or cause any conditions that may be dangerous, injurious, or noxious to any other property or person, and they shall comply with the performance standards herein. This home has been remodeled and has passed all building inspections. 3, the proposed use shall be sited, oriented, and landscaped so that the relationship of its buildings and grounds to adjacent buildings and properties does not impair health, safety, general welfare, or comfort, and does not adversely affect the values of adjacent properties. In 30612 of the Unified Development Ordinance, in addition to regular setback requirements for structures, a buffer yard shall be provided and maintained by the owner or leasee of a property in accordance with this section. Buffer yards are required between most land uses on adjacent properties to reduce the impact of one use to another. Generally, more intensive uses require greater amounts of buffering than less intensive uses. This section applies only to changes of use. The construction of a principal structure on a lot or the expansion of any existing principal structure by 50% or more, the making of this attached garage into a living facility was not 50% more in the structure, so a buffer yard is not needed. 4, the proposed use shall produce a total environmental effect that is consistent with and not harmful to the environment of the neighborhood, and will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding properties for the use already legally permitted in the district. The surrounding this lot are single-family homes. The only rental property is located on West Kiger Street. This home needed remodeled and is now an improvement to the neighborhood. 5, the proposed use shall organize vehicular access and parking to minimize conflicting traffic movements on adjacent streets. This property does not offer off-street parking, and a condition of this special exception I recommend, if passed, should be to place a parking lot for 4 cars. I can then enforce landscaping around the parking spaces. 6, the proposed use has taken or will take adequate measures to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities. A home already existed on this lot. Utilities, drainage, and other necessary facilities are already in place. 7, the proposed use shall permit the objectives of this ordinance and shall be consistent with the city comprehensive plan. The Unified Development Ordinance requires that duplexes be placed in B residential districts by special exception. The city of Frankfurt had a housing study that was created in 2024. In that study, a framework for planning was created. The city of Frankfurt and its stakeholders recognized the necessity to ensure a full continuum of quality housing alternatives to meet the needs of a diverse base of today and tomorrow. Constituents and ensure that Frankfurt remains positioned to attract and retain future workforce generations by enhancing quality of life components. And Main Street investments, I support of local Main Street investments, I support of local businesses, the arts, dining, and civic amenities, which are all within a reasonable district of one's home. The most importantly, civic partners recognize the necessity for implementation of infrastructure improvements and the establishment of other incentives as necessary to ensure continued economic expansion, as well as a full continuum of new quality rental and ownership housing alternatives. A synthesis of regional home values, household composition, and incomes. A thorough analysis of various lifestyle factors reveal that there is a sustained demand for a variety of rental housing options, as well as ownership form directed to both family segments as well as younger cohorts now entering the workforce and professional singles and childless couples and more mature constituents tied to a lifestyle setting. That quote is from the housing study. My recommendation from the special exception is that should be passed subject to the final of facts in the staff report. And the owners are here in case you have any questions.
Do they want to talk before we ask questions? Are they going to speak before we ask questions or anything?
I don't think so.
So I had a couple of things with this.
Okay.
Currently, the house is oriented towards Palmer Street, correct?
Yes.
What's the planned orientation of that second residence, I'm assuming?
So it would, if you're talking about addressing it, it would,
Not specifically address. Are they planning on having one entrance to the duplex on Palmer and then the second on that ancillary wraparound road that's not paved, that's not really a road?
yes, I would say that normally 50% of the property, which it does, the face of it, constitutes being attached to the street. But yeah, the back section of it, I think if you had pictures from the property, shows that the back
Garage.
faces the what would constitute an alley or the extension of Palmer Street. I don't know which way you want to call it.
Yeah, I believe it's.
There's a lot of
considered an
streets.
alley in there.
There's a lot of streets that are in that shape that are constitute a street.
That specific street isn't though. That's an alley. I mean, I have issues with that.
Yeah, I mean, I can take you to a street off of 5th Street, I think, or 6th Street. I can't think of what the name of it is. It has one house. It looks more like an alley. It's not even maybe
Right at the
12 foot
very end.
wide. Yeah.
Very end.
Tommy Click owns the property, and we kicked around that, but there's actually a street name on that, what looks like an alleyway. So
I think it's 9th.
I can't, I don't know. It ties into, I think, 8th Street somewhere down the line. So, so to me, I have a difficult time with, unless it's a strict, definite alley where it's running behind a house.
I mean, I think because it's not a named street, it's by definition an alley. And I have an issue with putting the front of a residence on an alley.
The address of that would not be probably that alley. It would be,
A 52 Palmer or whatever.
it would be, you'd have apartment A, apartment B.
Yeah, but I think that doesn't, I was trying to look up where it says that residences must be oriented towards the street. And I think that doesn't, I don't think that conforms. And then the fact that it would be on what would be an unimproved road or an alley at that point, I kind of have issues with ambulance access and police access and.
That is, I mean,
And I think that's the reason why we orient the house towards the street and it's,
right.
so I have issues with that.
The aerial kind of picture, those cars that are in front, that is not what would be the parking, correct? It'd be that gravel area you're talking about toward the alley, correct?
Talking about parking,
Yeah.
I don't.
Parking would come off of the back of the property because there's enough room to be able to put a 4-car parking spot back there. It needs to be gravel.
This area.
And then. man,
Yes.
a little Utility poles. Plug me with the front door there, just.
So you're saying, Don, that the entryway for both properties would, both apartments or whatever you refer to as, would come off of Palmer?
The entry off of the back does not come off of Palmer. The entry off the back faces what would be
Is
the
that,
railroad to the west. But it would be, the address of the property would be a Palmer Street address. It would be,
so it'd be
it
one,
would be,
one
um,
entrance on one side and one entrance on the other side?
Yeah.
yeah, you'd have the front entrance faces Palmer Street, 460 West Palmer.
Okay,
The back faces the railroad, faces west.
okay. And you say there's enough, you think there's enough for the, um, um, 4-car parking to the, immediately to the, north, on the north
Right,
side, north side of lot?
We always figure impervious surface to make sure, and that would be okay. Yep, it'll fit.
And I'm assuming you did the calculations on the impervious surface.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
Yeah,
guys
it's
should
that
have a,
first paragraph.
you
Yeah.
guys should have a sheet on your packets.
On number 1,
We actually went out and measured the house because we,
Well, the reason why I asked is because on the lot lines on Beacon, that alley roadway cuts across a huge swath of that back corner. So
right.
the question was, when you measured, did you measure lot line?
Yes, we measure the lot line, the lot itself, or we use Beacon's estimates of value there.
So when you measured the impervious surface, you included that 9-foot wide swath.
That's right. That's right. We go from the blue line on aqua line on, that's the radius. And then we actually went out and measured the house because of all the trees. We couldn't get a good grip on it. So we measured the whole house and all the concrete steps and things that go to it.
I think that you couldn't make, if they were to fence their property line, I don't think anybody can make that turn.
You could be,
You know what I'm talking
you're talking on the back side on that. You could potentially be right. I mean, I drove it I parked in there and drove out the back, and
I mean, I've
And-
driven it hundreds of
I'm
times.
sure you have.
Because it's such an odd alley, like I specifically know that it's a rough spot.
Yeah.
Especially if you start to put parking there.
But it'll be off. I mean, it'll be off far enough that, I mean, we went out and measured what we think would,
Where
the
it's,
appropriate would distance to put 4 cars. We do 9 feet wide per car, and then it's 16 feet in depth.
Yeah.
So it only has to be 16 feet in depth, and then the distance for every parking spot.
So where's the green space? Is there any yard?
Well, I think what we do is, in this case, or in most cases, if they use a non-compacting,
Yeah, then it doesn't count.
then it doesn't count. So if they use like a number 9 gravel, water will go through that. So that's why it fits. If it wouldn't be for that, then the answer would be no, it wouldn't meet it, and we probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah,
I do want to say that there's only 3 of you here, so for this to pass, all 3 of you have to vote for it. If there's an abstention, then it will not pass because it's the number, not just the number here, but the total number of the board. So 3 has to make it pass. I should have said that at the beginning.
I think the purpose of special exceptions are to catch and keep things like this specific one from happening.
It gives the neighbors the right to come in, and there are none that say, we really don't care for that, but there isn't nobody here for that. Everybody within 100 feet
Yeah,
received the letter, so.
I think that the church parking lot, the railroad, but
I just present the findings of facts, brother, and try to talk you into it, and not talk you into it, but give you what I think are the facts. And then you guys are gonna make the decision on where this goes.
if this was a street and it was a full-size street and we didn't have issues with that alley, and we wanted to change the frontage and make it like the duplex on, what is it, third, where, where the duplex turned on the property, and now that it's the red one they built like 3 or 4 years ago. Our Second Street, Third Street, somewhere there.
Yeah, 3rd Street maybe.
Yeah, like if that's what we were talking about, and we were gonna face it to that street, and that's a fully developed street.
Oh, I see what you're
I think we
saying.
would be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But specifically, this is an undeveloped road. I don't think it would meet any of the requirements to turn it into a road, and I think that that's the problem with putting the front of a residence on it, because every service is going to be impacted by it. So I would say that it does not conform to the provisions of the ordinance, and that it specifically on the third one, under the 302 mediated, it's not oriented in relationship to the other buildings.
Do we have any other questions for Don? Hearing none, thank you for the staff report, Don. At this time, we'll call on the petitioner for any additional comments. Okay, at this time, open discussion to the public. Hearing none, we'll close public discussion. At this time, we'll have further discussion from the board.
What do you think?
I think we should approve it myself with the stipulation of the parking, off-street parking with done with gravel so that it doesn't affect the surface. What's the right word, Don? You know what I mean? It's got to be a gravel parking. But I think I think you got an excellent point about Charles, about the door being on the one side of the building as opposed to being on an alley, so to speak. But I don't think that's a big enough thing to worry about personally.
Can I ask a question first? Let's go back to you, the contractor. So is there any way that the house inside could be changed where everybody comes through the front door and makes it to the back? In other words, an extended, I guess you could say,
You're gonna start getting into issues with fire egress, but.
well, not if you still have the back door. If the entry would come off of 460 and he builds a long hallway, he would still have the ability to get out the back. Now, you know, as I say that, more than likely they're not going to use the extended hallway. They're going to use the
Yeah,
doorway
fire
coming
away.
out the back. So I was just trying to come up with a way to have the entry coming off of
Well,
460.
it's the face of the residence is what I think the way, I was trying to pull up the UDO, but I didn't get that.
The only other way that would work is I don't know what the upstairs is like. If the upstairs, the second story, is capable of being an apartment and you make the first floor all one.
You'd need, we have to make sure the square footage worked upstairs.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to ask the question.
Any other questions or discussion?
I know, I made the motion.
Oh, that was
I consider it a motion anyway. Maybe I didn't say it right. I like to make the motion that we recommend it with this special exception with the, whatever you call it,
Recommendation.
thank you, Don, of the 4 off-street parkings and made out of the appropriate material so that it drains.
I will second motion. First and a second, we get roll call, please.
Mike Nichols,
Aye.
Isaac Chavez,
Aye.
Charles Bates.
Nay.
Moving forward, do we have any other old business?
I do not, other than the fact that we're working, Grace, did we get a call today on whether or not we have a BZA meeting in December for some variances on the
Mhm.
property out on 28?
Yep, it'll be December 11th, which is a Thursday.
I know we normally meet on Wednesday, but we have some challenges going on that day. So we moved it to Thursday, the 11th of December for our next meeting. And there'll be some variances for a development out on 28 East. The building is the building that now houses the the BMV. They have a section of it that they're looking to rent out. And they want to put a parking lot in the backside, and there's some variances that you'll have to have a discussion on to see whether or not you're okay with it. So
What time is the meeting?
the meeting will be at
30.
5:30.
You say that behind the BMV?
Yeah. So they have a room to put this parking lot. The parking lot will be for employees only, but there's still some overlays and some, I think there used to be 3 challenges. We actually fixed one of the 3 variances today. They don't have to come before. So there's 2 variances that have to come before you, just to kind of give you a heads up. And that is, they're making the parking lot gravel, and in the overlay district, they're required to be a hard surface. So they're going to come and have we're going to have a discussion, and we're going to talk about the fact that they want a 3-year kind of wait before the hard surface to make sure that whoever's renting it will stay there. I told them I didn't think the BZA would accept that. That would probably more be of a 1 year acceptance to keep it gravel and then pave it. So that'll be one variance, that it not be paved. And I can't think of what the second one is. Not hard surface.
Who do you think they're going to rent it to?
They think they have it to a medical facility.
Hmm.
So that'll be coming for you in December, and we'll get all that information out to you. I'll have work to do before Thanksgiving to get you my findings put together.
Any other business, board? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
First and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
We're out. We have to, Grace, there's nothing for us to sign, is there?
Yes.
Oh, there is something for us to sign. Okay, pardon me.